Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan Kohut, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Edwina Adams, the founder and personal brand coach at Authentic Authority Academy. Alongside running at Edwina makes it easy for business systems consulting. She launched one of America's first automated eco-friendly trash can cleaning services in 2014, later authoring 3 industry ebooks that educated thousands of operators nationwide. After selling majority ownership in 2024, she now channels that hands-on expertise into streamlining operations for business owners and building authentic personal brands for CEOs and speakers. With that being said, Edwina, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Thank you for having me, Milan.
It's great to have you on the podcast. We're going to jump right into the conversation. What I love to do at the beginning of every single episode is a bit of traveling back in time. So Before you even started this current company, walk us through the journey, what it was like, what is it that you did before, and then eventually what was the motivation for starting this business?
So my background is actually in medicine. I was in the military, I was a medic and a flight medic, and I was also simultaneously worked as a civilian paramedic. So responding to emergencies and helping people in a crisis. And then I got started in business in 2008-ish, 2009 with my first business, and I've just had several since then.
A lot of adjusting and pivoting from that point, I'm sure, as anybody else in
Oh
business.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of
Beautiful.
ups, lots of downs.
Beautiful. Now, Edwina, we're going to talk about the current business and really what the business looks like for you today. In this part of the podcast, my goal is really to bring the audience close to, first of all, who it is exactly that you're trying to help right now, and also what are the core offerings that you have in place for your clients. So tell us all about it.
Yeah. So who I help now is what I call the invisible expert. This stemmed from after I'd been in business almost 2 decades. In 2020, I actually nearly died, and that made me pivot a lot of things. I I sold a business. I kind of streamlined what I was doing, and I really honed in on what my expertise was and how I could help people without burning myself to the ground anymore. And what I found was there were some things in my life I hadn't ever talked about, and I started talking about them. And from that came building a really good personal brand. And I found that people like me who are, you know, we are the expert, we've done a lot of things, we can help people, but we're just kind of quiet and we don't talk about it a lot. Those are the people who need to be seen. And I wanted to help those people instead of the people who are willing to just say whatever needs to be said to get the attention. I wanted to help the people who didn't know how to say it, but they really were the person you should be listening to.
Yeah, and this is so fitting today's day and age. I was having several different conversations about this. There is a lot of gurus and professionals in every single industry that you can think of, and there's so much noise out there, right?
Yeah.
And it is often the people with the most experience and knowledge who are never seen on social media. They don't get the kind of following, they don't get to spread the message the way they should. So I love that. Now that we have a
Yeah.
better understanding in terms of who it is that you're looking to help, why don't you walk us through what it really feels like to be your client, what the journey feels like, looks like, what is the frequency of you working with your clients, different packages, offers, whatever that might be?
Yeah. So what I love about the, pardon me, what I love about the academy, goodness, what I love about the academy is that anybody can join it. I say anybody. I don't just want anybody in it. I want only who is ready, because not everybody's ready to say, okay, I got to change something. So help me do that. So the person who's ready for that. But with my normal coaching and consulting, it's higher level. Not everybody can afford that. So I thought, well, how can I, again, help the people who need the help, but they're just not quite there where they can afford to work one-on-one with me. So it is a group program, but just today I had a live session in there and it was amazing. There's this woman, she is the expert. I have read her book. I have heard her story before, and she just didn't know how to put herself out there. And within an hour, she was blown away and super excited to walk away and start creating some content because she had these three things that were from her own life. So she didn't have to fake it till she made it. She didn't have to pretend to be somebody she's not. It was just literally taking stuff she's doing in her life right now and putting it out there in a way where she's comfortable and people will know she's the authority. And we still have work to do to get her 100% to where she needs to be. But she went from like here to here in 60 minutes. It was super fun to do that with somebody.
What a transformation, though. Just like one
Yeah.
session with you, and it can be a huge pivot.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and that's not to say I'm amazing. It's just I have a lot of experience. And then when I've done it myself and I've seen what works, and I hear somebody talking and they're sad and they don't understand what to do, I see it. And just like when I responded to people in an emergency, it's just in my nature to say, oh my gosh, I know, I think I know what can help you. And let's try this. And I just like doing that.
I love that. Now, based on what you just shared with us, it's quite obvious that you wanted to create something that is going to be much more affordable than your one-on-one time, that people can join and still see some transformations and results. If we look at this through the business lenses, it also makes a lot more sense in terms of like the scalability of the project. So it's beautiful all around. But when it comes to your one-on-one time, I'm also curious, how did you structure the offer? What is that on average that it takes for your client to really dig deeper into all of this, go through the journey, and for you to basically set them up for success?
Yeah. Well, for one-on-one work, when I do that, people can book just a one-on-one, like literally an hour with me. And we can, I can ask a lot of detailed questions and give you some great feedback, and you can take that and do with it what you want. Um, and that is helpful to people. But on the one-on-one side, it's really best, and my offer is a monthly subscription. So because you do want time to actually implement it. If you've ever worked with a coach, you know that it's easy to get the information. It's hard to do it unless somebody says, okay, now let's do this. And okay, now let's do this. Just like when you're at the gym, you can easily go to the gym by yourself. But if you get a trainer, they keep you, you know, step by step making those changes. So that's what one-on-one is good for. And then in the coaching program, you get that as well, just in a group setting, which can be amazing also because then you get community and you realize, oh, it's not just me and I'm not broken. This is normal. Um, and that is huge too,
Yeah.
because nobody's broken and we
Yeah.
all need help.
This is a big, big piece of the puzzle. Just knowing and seeing there is a lot of other people going through the same situation, dealing with similar issues, it is very
Mhm.
encouraging, right? And I also
Yeah.
have to agree with what you said. It's always better to have somebody who's going to keep you accountable because it's never easy
Hmm.
to implement the knowledge, right? And make the best out of
Yeah.
it. So I love that. Beautiful. Now,
Mm. Thank you.
Edwin, when it comes to obviously having a good client acquisition system in place, it's one of the key components of you really succeeding with a project like this. So I want to talk about the back end side of the business and more specifically, what is it that you do on the front of marketing and lead generation to make all of this happen and have the ability to onboard these people into your programs and change their lives?
Yeah. Well, as far as lead generation, it's doing what I'm teaching people. It's using my personal brand. And I specifically talk about using your own story as your authentic authority. That's what we do in the Authentic Authority Academy. And even just one-on-one consulting for a business or a corporation, I always revert back to like, how can we what personal branding do we need to implement here to help you? Because it can be used for anybody, any business, any small business or corporation. But I I just lost my train of thought. What was the question I was answering here?
Yeah.
Ask that
So I
again.
was asking about the what is happening on the front of marketing and lead gen
Oh
to make
yeah.
this happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So Legion, I use my own personal branding that I'm teaching people. And using your own story as your authentic authority, which is what I teach. Um, there are so many people. There are a million people. They don't have to use me. They could use 100 other people. But if you hear my story and something about it connects with you, you have an automatic trust factor. It's just like, I mean, we've gone to a party, right? And you just randomly meet somebody and you don't know them, but you're just having a conversation and they're like, oh, I'm from, we're Romania and you're from Romania. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm from Romania. And then you both just start talking. There's an automatic connection. And that's because of your own authentic story, right? So if you're willing to put that out in the world, streamlined, because people don't want to know everything about you. They don't need to know. You need to have a personal life, but there's a way to have a personal life and a professional life and how a way to share your story in an authentic way where you're not making people feel like you're hiding anything because you're not. And when they come across that on social media, they're like, oh, I really connect with this person. And they say now that 75% of people will not buy from a company unless the CEO is online because they
Mhm.
really want to see what is this person about? And that's personal branding that they've got to have for them to have that comfort level.
Absolutely. I love the fact that you're actually walking the walk and doing the same thing that you advise your clients to do. And yes, it really is about creating this personal branding for yourself and really putting a lot of content out there, to have the ability to share your message, get in front of the right people, talk about what you can solve for them and really give them the ability and a chance to relate to you on a personal level. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
But everything that we talked about so far is on the side of organic, and I'm very, very curious about your perspective on possibly other sources of leads to really take the business to the next level. I don't know if you've ever dabbled into paid advertisement, to really create something more predictable, or whether you're also investing your time into strategic partnerships, networking. Tell us about these other sources. What is your perspective on that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because networking, I'm a huge advocate of that. I think especially with AI. I've been teaching this for 5 years now that and now it got here rapidly, but with AI, I think it's just going to force people to go more like the old is the new, right? So just in person, face to face meetups. And again, if you don't know how to go to a conference or go to a networking event and feel confident in sharing, being different, it's easy to just kind of stand in the corner and wait till somebody comes to talk to you. Or when you do meet up with somebody, you just sound like a corporate robot. And people don't want that anymore. They're like, they just want real. And again, how do you do that without being weird and awkward about it and oversharing and people being like, oh, that's too much information? I'm not, you're not trying to show up and do that. But how do you stand out where you walk out of that room and people say, man, that person was amazing. And it was just because you were authentic and so unique that you were willing to share a part of your story. Super powerful. So networking and, being able to show up online and in person the same way is huge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have you also tried to leverage on the potential of paid ads, or you've never even dabbled into it?
Hey, that's, I mean, I've did that with prior businesses. I'm not doing that right now with my current business just because and the organic stuff with the networking and online content is working well. Um, but I do think paid stuff is super beneficial, especially if you're trying to grow a business where you have employees and you're needing to keep that machine kind of fed, so to speak. Uh, because that is important if you've got employees to be paying for and helping them out. And I'm a big advocate of businesses being built in a way to where you're creating jobs and creating jobs that are paying people well, a livable wage, So I am an advocate of paid ads. I'm not currently doing those, or yeah, just loving what's
Yeah.
what's working now.
I love that. And like talking about this perspective of creating a business that supports also other people and jobs and people joining the ecosystem that you're building. Is this perhaps a part of your strategy and a plan in the future to really create a system where you can generate a ton of contacts and leads and have your own people internally to work with them and really grow the business that way? Or would you rather just keep it more sustainable, more to yourself, basically one woman show?
Yeah, like I said, when I nearly died in 2020, I really had to take a step back because I then also had a relapse a few years later. So I have personally had to slow myself down. I'm kind of a unique person. I've slowed myself down, and yet I'm busy, but I'm only busy when I want to be, and I'm busy in a way to where I'm still helping people in a super beneficial way. What I love is helping other people know how to grow like that. Because again, it is important. Small business is just like where it's at. And even if it's helping somebody get out of the corporate world to where they can then start a business where they're supporting other people in their town and things like that. It's just amazing.
I love that. And thank you so much, by the way, for the vulnerability and sharing this with all of us. I really appreciate it. Now,
Thank you.
like having this in mind though, and knowing that this is the perspective that you have for your own lifestyle and the business and everything, I'm very curious about what you see possible for the business in the future though. Especially talking about the short-term goals, maybe the next 12 months. What would you say are those biggest goals and targets and revenue milestones, whatever that might be for you?
Yeah, for mine. Well, definitely grow in the academy. That's pretty new. And let's see, it's, December 2025 right now, and I've got about 25 people in there, but that's new. And definitely growing that because it's super valuable and uh, it's just accessible to people that, they can, instead of them saying, oh my gosh, I need to grow my business, but I don't have 500 a month or I don't have, 1500 a month. But if you can buy McDonald's a couple times a month, you can get in this and get a head start, and really change what you're doing. And then have funds to put into paid ads and things like that because the leads are coming in. So that's where I see that going is just growing that. And that's also built in a way to where I don't have to show up every day, I can have the time where I'm resting because I need to rest, health wise or whatever. And, but people can still benefit from it.
I love it. So you're basically saying that with the current structure that you have in the company, in the future, this is going to be moving more from like the one-on-ones and the coaching that you do to basically creating valuable products and platform, you might say, that allows people to still get the value and the knowledge that you've collected over the years, but it's not going to be through coaching, it's going to be through something pre-recorded that they always have access to. Is that the general idea of where this is heading?
Yeah. Well, I'm a firm believer, at least currently, people do want that one-on-one. So while there is pre-recorded stuff in the academy that you can do at your own convenience, there are, monthly live training sessions to where definitely encourage people to get to because again, you're getting that connection. And while we're not in person, it's still real, and it doesn't feel like it's um, just mass produced or AI generated or something like that. You're just really getting that personal connection where you can ask questions and get an answer from a real person. So even if there were to be a time where I can't physically do that. I have a huge network of super professional, high level people who can step in and do that with somebody. And the academy members would be blown away to have that person come in and talk to them, so it'd be way better than having me. So that's fun. That's fun. And as far as like generating a business to where you're also providing an income for somebody else, that's a way the academy can operate, to where I say, hey, you want to come in and be a guest speaker? And then that's a way for the academy members to know about that person as well.
Yeah. No, this is a beautiful idea, though. I'm curious, what do you think about the academy and the future of the company and this kind of growth? What do you think out of everything is probably going to be the biggest challenge to make it happen?
Um, the biggest challenge, I would say is, with anybody, even if you're great at putting out a personal brand and um, you have to maintain it, right? You s- People, you can't have a great personal brand, be putting out content, and then disappear for a year and just expect that content's going to keep working for you.
Hmm.
It doesn't work that way. You can repurpose stuff, yes, but you've got to really be showing up. And same with in-person networking events. I mean, yeah, I can go to some and then I could disappear for even a month or two and people forget about you pretty quickly. So you either want to do this or you don't. It's not, nothing is easy. You have to pick your heart in life. So but it's way easier to show up for your business if you feel like it's authentic to you. And that's again what I'm teaching people is like, because it's hard to maintain something if you just feel like you're performing or you're just showing up saying what you think people want to hear. But if you show up and you say, well, I'm not here to just say what I think they want to hear. I'm here to share who I am, what I can offer in a way where it makes them feel like it's about them because it is about them.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
easy to show up.
Beautiful. Now, Edwina, before we wrap this up, I also want to ask you my favorite question. Considering you've been in business for many years at this point, if you could maybe travel back in time and speak to your younger self, maybe at the very beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, what would be the best piece of advice that you would give yourself?
You know what? That's a good question. I think I have something right here. So I think with a lot of business owners, especially when you're new, um, you have a hard time maybe okay. The people who are good at doing this are the people who shouldn't be paid a lot of money. they're they're willing to just say whatever to get the money, right? But the good people, the people who are honest, who have they really do want to show up and help people, they quite commonly don't value themselves. And
Hmm.
so they charge way, way, way too low of an amount for their service or their product or their time. And I think something I was telling somebody today, if you, for instance, sorry, I'm going to edit this part out here, but goodness. Okay. So 1 million seconds is 11.6 days. 1 billion seconds is 31.7 years. Okay. So that's to just kind of differentiate how great a million and a billion is. There are 2,781 billionaires in the world. There are 116 billionaires in San Francisco alone, San Francisco, California. In Houston, Texas, just by itself, there are 132,600 millionaires. Now, that's just a few cities, okay? There's a lot of money in the world. It's quite common for somebody new in business to think, oh, people don't have money, the economy's bad. I'm just gonna, it's just this amount, you know. But the truth is, there is a lot of money out there, and it's just money. And I'm not saying that to say like, oh, it's just money, you don't need it. You do money does you do need money, right? You need it to pay rent, you need it to buy food. It's just a fact of life. And you shouldn't only care about money, but you shouldn't think about money in a way to where you think it's going to be really hard to get because it's everywhere. So I think as a new business owner, if you just know, hey, if I'm an honest person, it's okay for me to say, I have this thing and it's worth this amount because of these things, and feel confident in that, and don't feel bad that you're charging for your product or your service. Now, with the exception that I do think there's value in doing things for free at first to get really good at what you're doing, and then knowing, okay, I don't have a lot of time to just giving this for free anymore, but here's the value of it and it's for sale, you know.
I love this. I love this. And especially in the spirit of what you were talking about maybe 10 minutes ago, as long as you do it and you're coming from a genuine point of like, I want to help. Yes,
Yes.
there's a lot of people who are going to pay for it and they're going to be happy with your services. As long as you're
Yeah.
a professional and expert and you can take somebody and shift their life into and put them into a better position, it is worth it. So
Yeah. Yeah. And don't be afraid to do it for free to get good at it. But then know that I don't have to do this for free the rest of my life because there's a lot of people in the world, a lot of money in the world. They're going to spend it on something. Why not spend it
yeah,
for you to help them?
I love it. Well, Edwina, I want to say thank you for taking the time
You're
today,
welcome.
sharing the story with me and the entire audience. I really appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you for
Beautiful.
having me.
Lovely. Now, to our listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And also, if you're a business owner, more specifically a coach or a consultant, or you have an agency and you're trying to scale the business and really enhance both your marketing and sales efforts, also visit closers.io, get in touch with our team, and discover how exactly we scaled our company from zero to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on climbing, and I'll see you on the next one.